Then we have Blake Mykowski. And Blake has been often described as a serial entrepreneur. That's an interesting phrase. The guy started 5 successful companies before he was even 30 years old. Just an incredible guy. He's the founder and chief shoe giver of Tom's Shoes. It's a for-profit company with a unique social enterprise model. For every pair of Tom's shoes that he sells, a pair of shoes is given to a child in need somewhere around the world. And Blake's going to share insights into a couple things. One is, how do you have a for-profit business with a cause like that he's trying to do all around the world? And two, how do you deal with all the issues that come up in starting a company and trying to meet huge needs really fast? Blake's going to be interviewed by his friend Darren Whitehead, who's also a teaching pastor here at Willow Creek Community Church. And check out a video that Darren did for us that'll give you a little sense of why we are so excited to have Blake at the summit this year.
Really excited about interviewing Blake Mykowski this year at the Leadership Summit. Blake is the founder of Tom's Shoes. You may recognize him from the reality TV show The Amazing Race or the AT&T commercials, which aired last year. Several years ago, Blake discovered the leading cause of disease in developing countries is from soil parasites which penetrate the skin through open sores on people's feet. Now, in developing countries, kids walk everywhere, sometimes for miles each day. And he found that 40% of the world's people don't have shoes. Now, we hear about all kinds of great organizations who are impacting extreme poverty in our world, but Blake's business model is different. He created a for-profit company that incorporates tangible, difference-making giving right into the business plan. So Blake's company, Tom's Shoes, was founded on this simple premise. With every pair of shoes they sell, Tom's will give a new pair of shoes to a child in need. Blake calls it using the purchasing power of individuals to benefit the greater good. So, as of the end of last year, Blake's company had given away over 400,000 pairs of shoes to children in need. And this has been through the purchases of caring customers. As a church leader, I'm fascinated by this whole story. Blake has managed to create a for-profit company that has churches wanting to partner with him, the fashion world wanting to work with him, retail outlets stocking his product, and thousands of volunteers being mobilized and being a part of this movement. I think there's a lot to be learned about this whole new way of doing business, and I'm excited about unpacking it.
No, I think it's going to be a great session come the summit. Let me move on to our next speaker, Dr. Chow. Dr. Chow is a prominent Chinese economist, and Dr. Chow in 2002 was commissioned, if you can believe this, he was commissioned by the Communist Party to come to the United States to study the U.S. economy. In his study, he concluded that the moral foundation that the free market system was based on in the United States was, he could attribute that to the presence of the Christian church in the United States, and said that the Christian church is what's providing a critical mass of values and ethics upon which the free market system needs to be built on for it to work. Says if greed and self-interest takes over, a free market system in fact doesn't work, and I think we're even seeing some of the signs of that in this last decade when kind of self-interest and greed did take hold. But since his study, and he went back to China and said, you know, it's the presence of the church that's making for the free economy to thrive over the many years in the United States. Since then, he became a Christian and has embraced Christianity, and now he is an outspoken advocate in China to the Communist Party that China needs to move more toward religious freedom and Christianity in particular. Now, he doesn't speak English, so we're going to turn the tables a little bit at the summit this year. And he is going to deliver his talk in Chinese, and then we're going to translate it into English.
I'm a strong advocate of taking this risk. As we said earlier, more people outside the United States are going to be a part of the Global Summit this year than even inside the borders, and they do a lot of translating, or they receive a lot of translating outside at our summit sites outside the borders. It would be good for us to feel what that's like from the inside. We also, a few months ago, I was in Shanghai and Beijing, where we have summit sites, and this is going to just blow the minds people who attend those particular sites, so, and other places in that part of the world. So I can't wait for this one.
Yeah, I think leaders are going to gain insights into kind of the connection between Christianity and the economy and the market. I think they'll get insights of the state of the church in China. And I think they'll also get a sense of what the challenge is, how challenging it is for him to lead in a secular communist environment as a believer. Incredible challenge. Take a look at this video, and it'll give you a little window into the life of Dr. Chow.
When China's Communist Party members met recently at the National Congress in Beijing, President Hu Jintao did something that had never been done before. He added the word religion to the Communist Party constitution. President Hu called the move an historic moment and challenged the party to view religion as a source of economic and social stability. Jiao Xiao, a senior government economist, was watching the political proceedings that day from his office on the outskirts of Beijing.
The window in China is opening more and more. Yes, the economy is the big story, but the other story is that we're seeing a moral and religious revival. And the government recognizes this.
In 2002, Jiao went on assignment to the United States to discover the secret of America's economic success. What he found changed his life forever.
After my trip, I wrote an essay entitled Market Economies with Churches and Market Economies Without Churches. I discovered that Christianity was the reason for America's success.
Jiao was an atheist and a former Communist Party official when he wrote that paper.
Anybody got something broken in your life today?
He later converted to Christianity after reading the Bible. His essay today is one of the most widely read articles on economic reform.
I meet people in the upper echelons of government, and I tell them that China will prosper and be a blessing to the world if it embraces the message of the cross.
And there's evidence that the government is taking a closer look at how Christianity and other religions can create what party officials call a more harmonious society.
That's going to be a tremendous session and truly representative of the fact that this truly is becoming a global leadership summit. Now, our next faculty member is Daniel Pink. Daniel is a business consultant, best-selling author, and a former White House speechwriter. He is an insightful thinker on the nature of the changing workplace. His articles on business have appeared in the Harvard Business Review, in Fast Company, and Wired, and the New York Times. His last book, A Whole New Mind, kind of looked into kind of the importance of right brain work skills in an economy that's outsourcing a lot more of the left brain types of functions. And Daniel will be sharing his insights from his current book called Drive, and helping us understand some of these surprising truths that he's discovered about what really motivates people. Here's a quick video on Daniel Pink.
There's a mismatch between what science knows and what business does. And what worries me as we stand here in the rubble of the economic collapse is that too many organizations are making their decisions, their policies about talent and people, based on assumptions that are outdated, unexamined, and rooted more in folklore than in science. And if we really want to get out of this economic mess, and if we really want high performance on those definitional tasks of the 21st century, the solution is not to do more of the wrong things, to entice people with a sweeter carrot or threaten them with a sharper stick. We need a whole new approach. The good news about all this is that the scientists who've been studying motivation have given us this new approach. It's an approach built much more around intrinsic motivation, around the desire to do things because they matter, because we like it, because they're interesting, because they're part of something important. And to my mind, that new operating system for our businesses revolves around three elements: autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Autonomy, the urge to direct our own lives. Mastery, the desire to get better and better at something that matters. And purpose, the yearning to do what we do in the service of something larger than ourselves. These are the building blocks of an entirely new operating system for our businesses.
Yeah, I like it any time that we have a summit speaker who talks to us about the general subject matter of inspiration and motivation, what pumps people up to do a better job. I think you remember a couple of years ago, I closed the summit with a talk called The Power of Inspiration. Yeah. You may have forgotten that.
I remember everyone.
Yeah, right. But anyway, I did quite a bit of study, almost a 6-month study, on the difference between a motivated employee and an unmotivated employee. Found out that there's as much as a 40% differential factor. If someone comes to work fired up for whatever purpose, but fired up to do what it is that they're supposed to be doing that day, versus if they come in just normal spirited. 40% performance differential dynamic there. Wow. So you can see the implications of this in a church, in a business, wherever. And so I think we're going to learn about that in that session. Yeah.